right. Well, I guess here we are, Atalia, on the podcast.
On the podcast.
How are you doing today?
Doing great.
Well, that's good. That's good. So I guess we just start from who you are, right? So just, I guess, tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you're doing in the Wichita scene and all those things.
Okay. What I'm doing in the Wichita scene? Art and fashion. And I've been taking part in some of the ICT fashion tour things. They're like runway shows. It's cool because it's like new. It's new in the city that I live in. And it's like kind of giving an entire community more opportunities that they didn't have before. Because there's not that many artistic opportunities in Wichita, really.
Right. Well, that's pretty sick, especially considering the fact you're still currently in high school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still in high school. I'm going to be a senior in August.
That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick.
Oh, yeah. In my school, I started a fashion club. It was sponsored by FITM. It's this fashion school in LA, but they stopped doing the fashion club things. So I'm still going to do the club. It's just going to be a little different. We're going to start a fashion magazine at my school. It's going to be like art, fashion, culture, so all that, because my school doesn't really have a place to hang artwork up or showcase it anywhere.
Wait, so that fashion club that I heard you started, they're not doing that no more?
They sponsored it this year, and then they moved it to like Arizona State University instead, and like now that they're doing that over there, they stopped sponsoring high school clubs. So they're not, I won't be sponsored by them next year.
Oh, well, that's news to me. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. Well, I guess now that we have an establishment on why you're on the podcast, well, I guess start out from the beginning. Where are you from? What's your little story with your 17 years of living?
Okay, so I was born in no, oh my gosh, that's where my dad lives right now. I was born in Montreal, Quebec, Montreal, in Canada. But like right after I was born, they took me back to America, so I got that dual citizenship. I've lived in like Florida, California, I think New Hampshire for a little bit. I've lived in a few places, but after second grade, we moved to Kansas, and that's where I've been the longest time in my life. Been in Wichita.
That's pretty wild considering how young you are.
Yeah,
that's insane.
A lot of places.
Yeah.
I love Wichita. Actually, I've grown to love it. Hated it for a while, but I think when it gets closer to the time where I'm ready to leave, like after I've been saying I'm gonna be leaving for so long, I realize all the things I'm taking for granted that I'm gonna miss.
It's very true. It's just a thing you do when you're young. I personally call it just hometown syndrome, because everybody does not like where they're from, essentially. You know what I mean? You have to be a real positive person to be like, I just really like it here. You know, I've met minimal people that are like, I want to spend the rest of my life in Wichita, even though they'll probably will. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just small town syndrome. You know, it's just the fact that you're so used to the same thing every day, the same kind of people. You know, I mean, that's why they write movies on it, bro. It's just a typical thing that you kind of go through when you're younger. And some people make it out. Some people are just like, oh yeah, no, I really like it here. Like I really want to go back home to Florida, but you know, that's pretty far away.
Yeah, I have so many friends that have been like, oh yeah, as soon as I get the chance, I'm leaving Wichita. But now at this point, they're like, oh no, like I'm gonna go to WSU. I'm just gonna stay here. But oh my God, that's like a fear of mine. I do not want to get stuck there.
Yeah, no, getting stuck is one thing, but hometown syndrome is another. You know, that's just, you're just used to the same action, same people. You know, you just want like a new environment for a second. But getting stuck is a whole nother thing. I know a bunch of people that are stuck, and that's not the funnest situation. But I don't see you getting stuck anytime soon. You've already been traveling quite a bit and all those things. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But so I guess where we should go from here is the art. How did you get into art?
Okay. I never really got into it. It was just like an interest since I was younger. I love to draw. I just remember drawing like potato heads. I started out with that.
Mm-hmm.
We even had like on my big iMac computer, we had this game. It was like illustrating, but it was online illustrating. And I would always like do these digital pieces and then print them out, but mainly it was all like coloring and drawing. And then I don't know, I just always stuck with it and never stopped doing it, and I got pretty good at it, had a passion for it. But when I was younger, my mom was like, if you want to be successful in life, you have to be a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. So for the longest time, I was like, I'm going to be a lawyer. There's like, I thought if you're going to be an artist, you're going to be broke.
Yeah.
Because like I have family members who tried to be an artist.
Right.
But I don't know. I think I'm going to be successful. I think.
Oh, well, you're a hell of an artist, that's for sure. When it comes to the paintings and everything else, I mean, you got that shit down pat. You know what I mean? It's pretty impressive, especially that one that you won the competition with.
Oh yeah, the competition.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy.
I'm mainly self-taught. I took like an art class one summer at this Wichita art school thing. I don't really remember what it's called, but I took one class, and then like I didn't make any friends there, so I stopped going. But I was always in art classes in school. I loved that. And recently I've been like doing a lot with AP art, and we get to go to art museums and get opportunities to do things like the Mark Arts Versus battle. And that my teacher and the person who won last year nominated me to do that this year for East.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
That's super sick.
Because we won last year, so I was going up there like, oh, I have high expectations to meet up to.
Yeah, I understand entirely. So would you say that you were just kind of naturally talented in the art way? I mean,
I guess
doesn't
so,
sound like you had a whole lot of Bob Rossing going around.
No, I was just always doing it. And I think I watched a lot of YouTube videos, but it was something that felt like it just came naturally to me. But in that same way, I feel like the same way a musician says it, I think anyone could do it, because to me it's just like I'm moving my hand in certain motions, so anyone can do this.
That's fair. Well, what about the fashion? Did your art kind of lead you to go into fashion, or was the fashion kind of first?
So my mom, her dream was to go to fashion school. She didn't get the same like chances as me really, because she didn't get to graduate because of her parents and all of this. So she's always had that passion. Dressing up has always been really fun. I used to take like blankets and make dresses around my sister. That was fun.
That definitely sounds like you for sure.
Yeah. Just little things like that. It was a little interesting, but I didn't realize that I could do it as a career until like junior year this year. So, but art connects to it in the way that when people buy a piece of art, I feel like they don't really know what to do with it besides put it on their wall. And a lot of teenagers and people who don't have their own house or don't really understand the value of art yet, like, I feel like they're less likely to buy it. But with fashion, you can do wearable art. You can do literal art on the clothing, and then even like the silhouette and the fabrics are art too. So
that's pretty sick. Heck yeah, dude. Well,
people buy clothes.
So how did you come upon your Wichita fashion tour situation? How did that happen exactly?
Oh, my mom is friends with a designer who was involved in it, and I went to shadow a show. She was like, okay, so when are you going to have designs in a show then? So after that, I started modeling in the shows for them and just meeting other designers and stuff. They were like, oh yeah, you can do this too. And I was like, I didn't think I was capable of that, but they were telling me like, this girl just learned in a few months, so you can do it too.
Hell yeah, dude. I mean, that's pretty sick. You know what I mean? That should tell you how talented you are. The fact that just grown people are like, yo, check this situation out.
It was cool.
You know what I mean? It's pretty sick, dude.
But
yeah, you're good.
Yeah, it was like really validating that other artists and other designers who were doing stuff wanted to collab with me and wanted me to like paint outfits for their collections and stuff like that. It was awesome.
There was a question I was going to ask you, and it's just escaping the fuck out of me. I don't know what the hell it was. Oh, well, I guess your childhood. Like, how was it growing? Like, do you remember, like, Canada at all? Or
No, that was, like, literally right after I was born. A few weeks after, like, they moved. So I don't remember Canada at all. I do remember a little bit of Florida. Thanks. I remember a little bit of California. Well, a lot of California, because I mostly grew up there. Or for the later part that I can remember.
I just always have this theory that people that have interesting childhoods. It kind of sparks more creativity because the most creative people I've ever known have never really been like you said, like stuck in like one spot. You know what I mean? They've always kind of had like the kind of childhoods we've had where you're just kind of like the spot.
Moving a lot and like with everything that happened with my family in Cali when we had to move to Kansas, we didn't have much. So once we moved here, I was making like DIY stuff. I kept so much trash because I was making so much stuff for like my American Girl dolls. I made them like their entire house like under the stairs, and I would make couches and stoves and like all this stuff out of cardboard for them, and I would paint it. And
wait, this is like a dollhouse situation?
Well, like it was just we had like a door under the stairs in one of our apartments, and I just made it like a dollhouse. Yeah, and I made like a bunch of stuff for inside of it.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So you basically had like essentially like a Harry Potter closet, but like it was like just one that you decked out full of.
Yeah, I was really into DIYs, and like at the time, I don't even know. Mackenzie might know what I'm talking about. There were like all these DIY YouTubers, and DIY was just huge in like the 2010s on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I guess we should state that Athalia is my girlfriend's cousin. That is why. That is a big reason on why we know each other. Yeah, the DIY shit, that's pretty sick. I did not know that about you, that you were building full door frame dollhouses and shit. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I remember like Kenzie's mom, my aunt Carrie, used to help me because she was really crafty too. We'd make like closets for their clothes to hang it up and everything. Like
I've heard about the handy Carrie days, that's for sure. Of her knocking down walls and the whole nine. I've heard of how handy she was. So that's pretty cool that you have that with your aunt, that's for sure. Especially Carrie, you know, I heard that she was.
oh yeah. My God. That is crazy.
I personally love that story because it's just hilarious. Like,
it's
who
acting off of impulse.
Yeah, like who just wild shit. I've never heard of something like that before. Let's just take down the whole house.
In character.
So, do you want to get into that? I was kind of avoiding that question, but do you want to get into that situation on why you had to go to Kansas at all?
Probably not. Just because, like,
right.
My mom and my dad. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just go ahead and just write that off as a crazy ass situation.
Yeah, there you go. That's enough to summarize.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So, fashion wise, so when you started doing like the what was it, like the dresses and stuff when you were younger, how young were you when you started doing that? And like what, like 10?
I don't remember. I was like little, and we would just be bored playing around the house, and my mom showed me a picture the other day.
See, that's like terrifying, because I'm imagining like a 5-year-old Athalia making like clothes, and that's like scary and impressive.
I was probably like 9, guessing like based off of when I moved here and stuff.
Still impressive, but not as scary.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I would just like wrap the blankets around like up one shoulder and like a belt around there to make it look like a dress, because we didn't just have fabrics laying around the house or anything.
Right. So what is your favorite color when it comes to painting? Because I mean, since you're a painter, your color palette is way broader than most people.
Yeah, I love using color, and I realized that it's kind of different because I think a lot of the themes so far in my art have been pretty dark, but I use a lot of bright colors. My favorite color, I love how bright green can show up, but that's just my favorite color in general too.
That's fair. That's bright green is the tits. It's one of my favorite colors too, honestly.
Pink and red are good for like anything. I feel like you can mix red with like so many colors.
That's fact. It's a primary color, ain't it?
Yeah, it is. So
yeah, and I just learned that because apparently I never learned what primary colors were in my entire life. And Mackenzie sat there and named them off to me. I was like, I had no idea.
I remember in middle school there was like a trend. It was.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh. Erase the whole episode. No, it's all good. But what were you about to say?
There was a whole trend, and everyone was doing their nails like primary colors and like wearing primary color outfits. It was just a thing. It had red, yellow, blue nails. I just remember that.
That's pretty funny. I'd be clowning on people for just having solid colors like that.
It looks pretty funny. Back.
So what are your goals now? Because I know that what'd you just get? You just got a fucking internship, right?
Yes, I just
for your
got
art.
Internship at an art museum. It's the art museum that I did the 20-minute versus challenge at.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an exhibition internship. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna get to go plan things and go into like the archive stuff. Like that is gonna be awesome. I'm super excited.
That is just so sick, bro. I'm so happy for you because of the fact that like you are so young. You know what I mean? Like I personally never had opportunities like that. So the fact that I've just like I said the other day, like saw you as like this chick that just barely said a word in this way too big of a Zillakami hoodie, like just not saying a word to anybody, to like this, you know, this sprouted artist that you are now. That's entirely wild. I mean, you're making clothes, you got a fucking internship and all this wild shit, and you don't even plan on staying here forever, like the country, right? Like you plan on going to like France eventually to like follow like your dream, right?
Visiting France was amazing and I loved it. It was a wake-up call. It was like there's just so much more out there, and I kind of already knew that I wanted to travel, but it just seemed unrealistic for me.
Right.
But I have cousins who studied abroad and everything, so there's so many options. You can like jump from other countries for college, like not just stay in one, but multiple. But I think I want to go to one of the fashion capitals. There's like a college in Italy.
I about to say, what are those? I don't, because I'm only so familiar with fashion, you know what I mean? So
yeah. So Italy, you know, brands that come from Italy like Versace, Dolce. I said that weird, but
you're
like
good,
Dolce
you're
and
good.
Gabbana. Like I think those are all Italian, anyways. And then France, Paris is a big fashion place. They do Paris Fashion Week and all of that. And then London is another one. So those are like the three fashion capitals. So there's a school in each. France can't speak French, and then Italy I can't speak Italian, but you know, I took Spanish for 5 years, so that one would be easier. But London has no language barrier. I want to go to Central St. Martin's, but they got a 6% acceptance rate.
Look, dude, like I told you the other day, my cousin got into a Navy school that had like a 2% success rate. Like you pretty much had to guarantee have somebody that was high up in the military or have like a lot of money to get into there. And he got in there just purely because my cousin Ethan is smart as shit. So it's possible for you. All these things are possible for you. My friend Alonzo, he even got invited out for Fashion Week like 2 years ago. It wasn't for like anything like huge, but I mean it was like a big impact on Haven Brand was that catwalk. I remember, like I'm pretty sure he got his first like YouTube interview from that and like all that shit. So
you can meet so many connections there. And then I didn't mention New York, but yeah, New York's one too. But I've seen a lot of posts about people going to New York and just wanting to get out of the country still not being happy with that. So well, I don't know a damn thing about New York, but it just doesn't look like a comfortable living situation. You know what? I can't even imagine what a suburb of New York looks like, because my boy Jordan lived in New York for a second, but he lived like inner city, like in Queens, and it did not sound fun. To Jordan, it was amazing because Jordan slept in a closet when I first met him. So he was like, nah, dude, splitting a room, 1,600 with like 5 guys in like the small space, that ain't. See, like not having money too, how, and like being a student, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, that's
It's a little crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like any other city that I want to go to might be like that, but
Right. You know, some dreams do just kind of take you just, you know, throwing everything in the car. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily the best idea, but sometimes it does take that. So, you know what I mean? Just keep your options open. That's for sure.
Yep.
So you got any like new clothes you're working on or anything like that?
Um,
Got any shows? You've been doing anything?
Yeah, I was borrowing my sewing instructor, like my sewing teacher. I was borrowing her sewing machine for a little bit, but that was when school was still in, and I was really busy and like didn't have a lot of time to focus on that stuff. But now that school's out, I'm planning on spending more time on that. Buying my own sewing machine because mine is just bad. I just don't even try to use it. So trying to buy my own sewing machine. I really need to invest in that so that in my free time I have all these ideas. I have all these clothing pieces set aside to alter and just change and add to upcycle. But I do have a show mid-July that I need to have designs in, so I need to start working on those.
Yeah. You said you had a sewing instructor. Is that what you said? A sewing mentor? Who is that?
So her name's Nina, and she owns Tissue Sewing Studio downtown. It's really cool. She like does lessons for kids and even adults. Normally you have to pay, but she just makes me pay like $25 one time and will help me as much as I need. And my friend, she helps my friend too, and she just like gives her the keys to her studio and like just go practice in there because it's a space with everything you need.
That's super sick. How'd you meet her?
She was a part of ICT Fashion Tour. So yeah,
you met some connections. Yeah. You got plugged in. I see you.
That show that show in mid-July. I think you'd actually be interested. It's actually at the Wichita City Skate Park.
Dude, you know I'm always down to go to any kind of show where I'm supporting you guys. Yeah. Like, I really am. You know, it's just more of like, am I going to be there because we live in a disclosed location in the middle of nowhere of Oklahoma. So, you know what I mean? But no, definitely send me the details and all that. Me and Mackenzie will for surely try to make time for it because I love going out to see that kind of shit. I really do. Especially the fact that, like, you're so young and I get to, like, see your art displayed in whatever way possible. Yeah. It's pretty fucking sick, dude.
They're fun for experience. Like, before that, I feel like people in Wichita didn't really get to experience runways like that.
Right. The first time I ever heard about it was through Drew when he moved in with me because of Alonzo, you know, Haven brand and all that stuff. They've done, I think, like 3 or 4 catwalks or some shit like that. And whenever they were living, well, when Drew was living with me and everyone else was just coming over to my house, they were talking about doing another one, like setting it up like in an alleyway and all this other shit. I don't think they ever did it because they got invited out to Fashion Week.
It's really validating, like, as a person who's into clothing that like you too can this easily like have your own runway. But I think like standards of runway changed a lot throughout history. They used to be like this really like elegant thing, but now big fashion brands have them wherever. Like the really viral one you've seen, like Balenciaga in the mud pit thing. Yeah. Like now they're getting super creative with it, so like anyone can throw their own runway.
Right. I never really understood the whole runway situation until I started to get a little bit more into fashion. The most I had ever seen of a runway was quite literally on Zoolander when they have like the walk off. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. No, you're a little young for that movie, but it's hilarious. It's these 2 male models that literally go, they're like having a competitional walk off, and it's the most ridiculous fucking thing you've ever seen in your life. But yeah, so that's very interesting catwalks, that's for sure. I've never actually attended one. I've always wanted to because, you know.
Yeah, it's super easy to like not understand it and just to think it's like stupid. A lot of things with fashion because of the industry, it has its flaws. But
I just want to know how you get to that like young thug status when you can just be smoking a blunt like during like a fucking catwalk and just get up and fix somebody's like polo shirt or whatever the hell he was doing that one time. Yes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, he like fixed their collar. That was so. Yeah, that's a goal.
Like literally, man. Like, how do you get to that status? How would you just stop? Just fix.
Young Thug as a rapper is like, these fashion designers did it wrong.
Young Thug as a person just gives, I don't think, any fucks, honestly.
Yeah. I started watching, whenever I realized I was really into fashion as a career, I started watching this YouTuber, and he does videos like analyzing runways and analyzing collections because just like art, there's analyzations to be made. Whenever you're looking at a collection of art or a piece of art, you're like, what does this mean and what's the story behind it? Like, what's the conceptual idea behind this piece of art? It's the same thing with a runway. Like, each piece has a story and, like, means something. With Virgil Abloh, like, most runways have show notes, and his, like, everything meant something. The color of the fabric and, like, the shape of the dress, like, it all meant something. So if you, like, watch a runway with his notes on like what everything meant, it's super interesting.
I never really thought about it that way ever. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's why watching this YouTuber was like really cool because he just broke it all down, and then you really understand why these luxury brands are allowed to be luxury and why they cost so much.
Yeah, it took me a while to actually understand why you would want to buy like a real Supreme hoodie because this is actually really funny. My childhood best friend Dion, he was one of those guys that bought fake like Gucci and stuff like that. Like, and I think it's because he didn't really understand the concept of what you're talking about. He's like, no, like it has like the label on it. And my friend Dion was always like a social status person, but one day I got like really bored. And I did like the same thing. I like looked up like analytics on like YouTube about like fashion and stuff like that. And this dude was talking about how you can tell that this Supreme hoodie isn't real from this one because of like the font, the stitching, and all of that. And I was like, oh, I never even thought to look for that shit. Like, you know, like how do you even point that out?
That's like quality. And
yeah,
then, like,
straight quality control. I mean, I watched this person like that reviews, or they don't review, but they verify check for eBay, and they fucking do a smell test, bro. They're like, yeah, that's the right shoe.
How can
Funniest
it
thing ever.
smell wrong?
Man, don't.
This doesn't smell designer.
I don't know, man, but all I know is that the people that do quality checks, it's amazing because I don't know how the fuck they do that. The smell check, the sewing check, you out of pocket to me.
You're like, this stitch is crooked.
Right, but what you're talking about is kind of crazy. I've never thought about the fact that like people put like certain fabrics for like this and that, but you know, I'm just now like really exploring that part of like my creative mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My mom was always really like, her thing in fashion was she was big into fabrics and the way that like they flow, the way that they sit. It's like when you walk, certain fabrics have different movements, and it's really interesting actually. But I would buy luxury because just appreciating like the history of it, and then the way that everything that you're wearing now comes pretty much from what was on the runway. It's like a watered down version.
Yeah. No, that's you just have my mind like fucking twisting and turning about this whole fashion shit, bro. I've just never really thought about it that way. So, what's your mom's past with fashion? Just that she wanted to go to school for it, or?
I know that she was like doing things in high school like I am, and she was like winning awards in DECA for fashion and stuff like that. And she did like her senior project, or it was just like a big end of the year project. And it was, she made garments and she made a whole outfit, but her parents got divorced and it just kind of threw her off, and she didn't graduate. So yeah, but she still has always like been really into the way that she dresses and dressing us up when we were younger. So,
I can see that. Okay, that's pretty tight. I didn't know that about your mom. That's insane.
yeah.
I thought this was just. I honestly thought all this was just you on TikTok.
No. Yeah, that's a fair guess though, because like, I feel like every time I like something, this is coincidental, right? Every time I like something, it's big on TikTok. Like, then everyone on TikTok finds out about it. It's like, okay, am I just following the trends? Because I swear I liked this before I knew it was a trend.
I feel you.
How does that happen?
I'm going to go ahead and admit this to the world right now, which is really funny. Whenever I was a kid and I was like a little metalhead and I just started getting into hip-hop music, my number one favorite rapper, because I was into very fast rappers, was Machine Gun Kelly. Yes, I said it. It was Machine Gun Kelly. I was the chip off the block kid that was pumping that shit back in, what was it, like 2010, 9, whatever the hell it was. I can't even remember. That shit was early. And then he randomly got super famous. Like, you know how he just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
When that happened, everyone's like, I'm in the I was that dude that's like, I've been listening to Machine Gun Kelly before anybody was ever into, and now I really hate admitting that I was ever into Machine Gun Kelly. You know what I mean?
Cannot be flex. That is not a thing to flex, guys.
That is not a flex. That is not a flex.
I hadn't heard of him until the thing with Eminem.
That's, yeah, you see, like, that's not a good reputation to hold at all.
And like, I've just seen too many weird things about him, and like being low-key a pedophile. No, like, I'm
pretty sure, if I remember right, whenever I remember hearing that stuff, it was because he was making comments about Eminem's daughter. But I'm like in the same age bracket as these people. We're all like around like the same age. So whenever he was talking about her, she would have been like underage, but he was like an 18, 19-year-old dude or whatever. But like, I don't fucking care about justifying that shit because I completely hear what people are saying.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what the justification is at the end of the day. Like, maybe just not talk about the dude's daughter for real.
Yeah, that. And then he just kind of seems like he seems like crazy, bro. Like the stuff with Megan Fox. Like,
yeah, every
so
time I see
weird.
something, I can't even read it because I'm like, it's just like a weird cringe fest. As much as I hate to say that.
So cringe. Like the stuff that he wears to the stuff that he says and the way that he acts. It's so cringe, and he's too old for that.
Right. Look, man, you can be into whatever you want at whatever age, but like maybe don't look like a middle schooler when you're like past the age of 20.
Sequins and the smiley faces, they gotta go. They should not be on your clothes. They should not be on your clothes at that age.
Oh no, that's funny.
I like Willow, right? But that emo girl song, it's so ass. It's so bad.
I completely agree.
Cringe.
Yeah. One thing that my dad told me, and it's very true, and this is very like cliche advice, but it's very true when it comes to music. You don't want to write like a passionate, like this song took me 8 years to write. Or anything like that. You want to write like just like a popular song that people remember. So like you might have never heard Emo Girl. You hear it one time, you forever heard it 1,000 times because the chorus is so catchy that it's meant to just kind of be played in your head over and over.
Retail store music, and it's just bad.
It is bad. It's real bad. Yeah, I definitely don't enjoy it. But now that we're on the topic of music, Athalia, your music taste, you have a very, very broad music taste. Where did that start and come from?
It is so broad. I used to say anything but country, but you know, Floyd's kind of
that's like, most people like us.
Yeah, Floyd's kind of like show me some things that aren't country, but they're like kind of like folk, just
more like folkish, like kind of like
a bit of country, and I just kind of like I actually like that stuff. That's not bad,
man. No, look, man, there ain't nothing wrong with liking country or anything like that. People just try to make country music to sound like it's only for hillbillies. Yeah. Like I'm drinking a beer in my tractor. That's not how it fucking works every single time, bro. My dad listens to like borderline white people blues. You know what I mean? Because it's just sad country fucking music.
That's what I was telling Floyd. Like I like the music that you're showing me right now because it's country-ish, but it's not singing about country stuff. It's not like Boots and
if you ask me, that version that people have made up in their head of country music is what hip hop is now, right? Like the country rap scene where they're just literally talking about the most country things over hip hop beats and trying to, I guess, what you'd call rap.
Did Lil Nas X start that? Like the mesh of country?
No, he's not even what you consider a hip hop artist. I consider him, as much as I hate to say that these kind of artists exist, he's more of a meme artist. Like he makes music that is just supposed to be popular, cause controversy, and to keep his pockets fat. That's it. Because he did it one time successfully, and he obviously got a manager that was like, no, let's just keep doing that.
And the devil stuff.
Because he's never going to be like Tyler, the Creator, where he's like, oh, I'm going to be Marilyn Manson for like the first 5-10 years of my career. And then I'm going to drop my like musical genius on you for the next existence of my career. You know what I mean? Because that's not how this music
is that
was.
Even possible anymore, really? Like no one can do what Tyler did. I don't like that's not even
that's very
someone
very
comes
fair.
Out rapping like that now.
Yeah, no. I listen to some like Tron Cat and just some of the shit that he like says. I'm like, oh god, dude! Like we were rolling around bumping this when we were kids, bro.
I love those older albums, and like Eden and I used to sit in her grandma's car and listen to those albums with her when she was like taking us to the store. And I just remember being like, okay, we can play it now because she's in the store. When she gets back, turn that off.
Yeah,
grandma does not need to be exposed to this.
Right. Yeah, I was telling Mackenzie the other day that whenever I was really into Slipknot, I went to this kid's house. To shout out to Michael White, he was one of my childhood friends too. I was at his house, and Michael was one of those kids that kind of got into it with his mom, even when your friends were there. And so I was like, I had just like discovered Slipknot when I was like probably like my brother's age. I was like 12 or like 13 or something like that. Maybe even younger. I was probably like 10. I listened to Slipknot for a long time. And I looked up the song Duality, and we were listening to it, and his mom walked out and was like, because they were like a Christian household. Like, you know, they like went to church every Sunday. If you stayed there, you had to go to church with them and all that stuff. Yeah, that was normal for me because I lived in Florida. You know what I'm saying? People went to church all the time. Didn't make me uncomfortable. I was just like, whatever, let's just do it so we can kick it, you know? So she came out and was like, nah. And I was like, yeah, no, I like totally understand. And Michael like got into it with his mom. She's like, we're just listening to music, Mom.
It's just some Slipknot.
Yeah, like, jeez, dude. And like Michael was never into that music, so that was pretty hilarious. The fact that he got into it with his mom about
just
that.
Defending you.
Yeah, so I totally feel the fact that you can't just listen to certain music around certain people.
Oh yeah, definitely. But oh man. Back on the original question.
So you, your music taste started with the fact that you start listening to folk music with Floyd. Like,
oh
yeah.
that's more recent. Where it started, I don't know. I've always like to be really interested in specific things and like hyper focus on that. And in middle school, I remember Eden introducing me to Tyler, the Creator. Okay, but before we talk about that, Melanie Martinez, I loved her in like elementary school, but my friends put me on a Tyler, the Creator, and I was just like, this is groundbreaking. This is crazy. Like,
which I like to call them. I know there's eras of eras of Tyler. I like to call them chapters whenever you're talking about like specific albums. What chapter of Tyler the Creator did you like? Was he like still Odd Future Wolfgang, Lord of the Squad?
Yeah.
Like,
okay. So you know the first song that she showed me actually?
What?
Tron Cat. And I was scared.
Oh shit. God damn.
I was like, what? So what? So
That's
what
a
am I
heavy
listening
one
to
right
now?
there. You know what I mean? That's like more like after you've heard a couple songs by Tyler, you're like, all right, he's like about like the controversy.
Intrigued. But this was after he had already dropped Flower Boy, but before he had dropped Igor. So I remember I went to the Igor tour. That was awesome. And then
that's sick.
Yeah, I also went to Call Me If You Get Lost tour. That was also great.
That's fucking ground changing.
Yeah, I love rap. I love like genres. My genres have gotten broader. You know, I always loved like the older like 90s alternative rock because of my mom. But now I've like gotten into every type of music. Okay, not every, but into lots of genres. I love like the 70s, the 80s, and like the history of music and how everything came to be. I love a lot of older bands. And
that seems to be really big with your generation. The fact that you guys are really, really good about going back about like what inspired this to this to this. Because I definitely, when me and Mackenzie were growing up, and like my uncle's generation for sure, that's not really like how it was. You know what I mean? No, I mean it's like the musical geniuses more were like about it, like people that were really into music and all those kind of things. No, like any person I talk to that's like your age, they're like, yeah, I'm really into, and it's been like that since I met my friend Ethan, pretty much. Yeah. You like just your generation is real good about sticking up with the history
like that,
of things.
Though. I like that we can like preserve these artists' works and like remember them and talk about them.
No, definitely. So, I guess what music are you not into necessarily? I mean, because considering the fact that you're into Tyler the Creator, and we've already covered that you were into Zilla Kami at one time in your life, like, I mean, that pretty much just goes ahead and gives you a pretty big idea of what you're into.
I just like, I'm not a big fan of pop. I don't like super poppy music, or like I was explaining to you earlier, retail store music. I hate that so much.
That's fair. Honestly, the only pop music I've ever been into is A Day to Remember, because I really like the structure of like how they're like metal, pop, and like hardcore like all at the same time.
If you
or
mix
whatever.
it with the right things.
Right.
What else don't I really like? I had something and then left my head.
SpaghettiOs.
I know I don't like Taylor Swift and that. I just can't stand the sound of it.
So you're not really like a mainstream music person, like.
I hate to, but yeah, no.
Right.
I like these smaller bands. It's like, it feels cool to like support or listen to a local band of like people that you know. But
the same way. I've been that way since I was a kid. I'm not really into big people. It's like the bigger you are, it's like the less interesting I get. Like I was really into who was it? Jack Harlow, bro. I found like one of his real early songs. I was like, this dude's amazing. And now I can't stand him.
Yeah, it's like something just happens.
Yeah. Do you have the Drake effect? Do you like Drake?
Yeah, I like Drake. Like that's like my guilty pleasure that I listen to Drake.
It's not a guilty pleasure, bro. That's why I call it the Drake effect, because everyone deep down inside knows if you hear headliners at a show, you're gonna feel it.
Yeah,
That's why it's my go-to on my DJ set. Seriously.
Yeah. I don't really like some rappers. Like the rappers that my little brother listened to, I don't like them. Like,
What does Asher listen to?
No,
I never even thought about asking a question like that.
What even are their names? Like Lil Durk type of rappers. Like, wait, okay, I don't want to say that. I don't know. There's just specific ones that I just don't like.
Let me go ahead and take a guess at it. Is it kind of like drill music with like real deep voice rappers that are almost like offbeat?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I know exactly. And when you said Durk, I know exactly what you were talking about. there's a certain kind of rap music that's only meant for specific people, and like that is one of them, because that kind of rap music I find very hard to get into. It's like listening to early Blueface. You're like, what is this? You know what I mean? Because Blueface is ass no matter what. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Yeah.
But especially early Blueface, when everyone was like, this dude's changing the game, and he's rapping like almost entirely in front of the beat or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Just so bad. Just so bad.
Like, actual listening to these guys that are just repeating the same thing over and over again, and they're not singing about anything or rapping about anything relatable. Like, I need that. I can just sit down and really appreciate lyrics and like read the lyrics while I'm listening to it, because it just means so much more.
I mean, that's fair. And you're also an artist, and at that age too. Ash is at that age where probably like music that, you know, like if he didn't have anything else, he'd probably only listen to Linkin Park. I mean, that's how it was whenever I was a fucking kid and I was his age. You know what I mean? Like, seriously.
Yeah, when I was his age, I would say it was mainly like whatever was on the radio or what my mom was listening to. But yeah.
Well, what else should we get into? What else? About 6. We've covered all the bases. We've covered your childhood. We've covered the music, the fashion, what you're going to do. Got anything new?
I don't know, guys. I want to start a brand someday, so look out for that in some years.
Let's say you got any names made up or anything?
I don't know for sure, but I know like once I really get the fashion stuff down and like I can make a professional brand. I was thinking about using my sister's middle name, because it's my grandma on my mom's side and my grandma on my dad's side. It's both of their names combined.
Tell me that off camera. That sounds dope.
Yeah, it's cool.
That sounds fucking cool. I didn't even know that. That's lit. Hell yeah, dude. That's fucking awesome. Fucking right. Well, there's not much more to cover. I think we might end the episode, right?
I guess so. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, Athalia. Appreciate you coming on. Yeah, go follow her socials. She will link them in the video. She has a. Do you want to put your personal or just your art page?
Yeah, I'm fine with putting my personal. I plan on like redoing my art page at some point just to make it more visually put together, pleasing.
That's very fair. But all right, all right. That's the podcast. All right, let's go with the corny theme song.
Yes.
And we out.